Welcome to today's video. We are going to be solving this particular problem to determine the function defined from 0 to t over 2 and from t over 2 to t, okay, of this particular triangular pulse shown. So you'll be interested in how to define, okay, this function using like the branched function pattern. So what we are interested in finding is this. We're interested in finding how the function behaves. F of t is equal to what exactly? What is it from this interval 0 less than t over 2, and what is it from this interval t over 2 is less than t and it's less than capital letter T. So from here to here, what is the function? And from here to here, what is the function? So that's just all we need to do. So we are going to be diving into the solution. So watch me. So this is what I have now. I have something like this, and I have the function defined like this and like this, and from here to here we have t over 2, then here is t, then this is 1. Okay, then you now have your f of t. So let's focus on the behavior of this function from 0 to t over 2. So part 1. So we want to define f of t from 0 less than t over 2. So you can just define it as f of t is a straight line mt plus c. Okay, remember y is equal to mx plus c. So since we are in the time domain, your x is now transformed to t. Okay, so mt plus c. Remember, m is slope and c is intercept. So how do you actually find the value of m and c? So I'm going to advise you to use a pattern called slope point form. So the slope point form is a formula that I'll show you to determine the value of a function in a particular period of time. Okay, the period of time is from 0 to t over 2. So the first thing we are interested in is to find the slope. Then after we find the slope, we are now going to apply a point on that particular line to the equation, and we'll be able to find the intercept. So you find the slope and you now use a point to find the value of the intercept c. So can we try that together? Yes, let's dive in. So assuming that we are actually looking at this particular function from 0 to t over 2. So it's actually, you could just draw a rough sketch of the function like this. Okay, 0 to t over 2. So this is how that line looks like. So this is 0 and the height is 1. So this is your f of t. So you want to find the equation of this line. So remember, let's find the slope. To find the slope for this particular line, the slope is, remember, change in y over change in t. So your f of t is your y-axis, and of course this is your x-axis is your t-axis, something like that. So if you want to find the value of your m, okay, you're going to say some y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'll call this point y2, y1. So this is x2 and x1. So y2 is 1 and y1 is 0. Now x2 is this point t over 2 and x1 is 0. Is that okay? Or you can call the coordinates of your y2 x2 or y2 t2 comma y2, you can call it, this point is t over 2 comma 1. So when t is t over 2, y is 1. So these are the points having a subscript of 2. Then you can call this particular point, okay, 0 comma 0. So these are the coordinates having the subscript 1. So when t is 0, y is 0 at this particular point. Is that okay? So you can use this to find your slope. Your slope is going to be t over 2, which is y2 is 1, minus y1 is 0, okay, and minus t2 is, as you can see, t2 is t over 2 minus t1 is 0. So with this, you will have 1 all over t over 2, which gives you 2 all over t. Is that okay? So the value of our slope is 2 over t. Now, after finding the value of your slope, you can now locate one point on the line. One point, any point that is actually defined on this line. The easiest is the origin. I can use the origin, okay, or I could use this point that has the coordinate t over 2 comma 1. But all you just need to know that any point you use will work as far as you know the coordinates of that point. So why shouldn't I use the simpler one? I'm going to use the origin because it's simple. And why do we want to use the point? We want to use the point to find the value of c. Is that okay? So the concept of the slope point form is to determine the slope. So after finding the slope, you now choose a point that is known on that line. After you choose that point, you use it to find the value of c. So what do I mean? My f of t is now going to be written as m, which is 2 over t plus c. So I'm going to use using point 0 comma 0, okay, which is on the line. It's trying to tell me that the value of f of t will be 0, okay, when the value of t is 0. Is that okay? Plus c. So if you solve this equation, you will discover that 0 is equal to 0 plus c. The implication is that c is equal to 0 in this first case. Therefore, f of t for the first case is 2 over t. So this is the definition of f of t, okay, for 0 less than t over 2. So this is a straight line, okay, it's a straight line. It's just a straight line having an intercept of 0, and the slope of this line is 2 over t, as you can see. Are we good? So the next assignment is to define the function from this point to this point. So we have succeeded in defining the function from 0 to t over 2. So we now want to define the function from t over 2 to t. So you could just have a rough sketch. So part 2. So we want to define f of t for t over 2 less than t less than capital T, like this. So you just draw a rough sketch. So this is it now, okay, this is t over 2 and this is t. So we have that the function is actually like this. So this is want to define this line, okay, so this is your f of t. So you know you can actually produce this line, just produce it, let it keep going till it strike the y-axis somewhere. But the most important thing is that you need to understand that this one is 0.1, okay, according to what we were given. So we want to define the equation of this line. So as usual, we are going to use our slope point form. Our slope point form will help us. So our slope point form suggests that first of all, we find the slope. Then after finding the slope, we now choose a point that is on this line, a point that we can easily read off. And after choosing that point, we use it to determine the value of the line. So let's first of all try to find the slope. Before you find the slope, you need to define the equation that f of t is a random mt plus c, general equation of the line. Our interest first of all is in finding m. After we find m, we can now find c by choosing any point of our choice that exists on this line. So first of all, find the slope. To find m, you need to find your change in your y all over your change in your t. Is that okay? So let's go ahead and define 2 points that are known. So I can define the coordinates of these points as when t is t over 2, okay, my y or my f of t is 1. I can define the coordinates of this point as when t is t, then y maps us back to 0, okay. So we have 2 points. So you call this your y2 and your t2, you call this your y1 and you call this your what, t, small letter t1. So you have y2 minus y1 all over t2 minus t1 away together. So y2 minus y1 is 1 minus 0 all over t2 minus t1 is actually t over 2 minus t. So when you solve this, you're going to get 1 minus 0 as 1, and t over 2 minus t will give you minus t over 2. Then if you resolve this, you get minus 2 all over t as the value of your slope in this case. Okay, so we can now rewrite the function as f of t is equal to m minus 2 all over t. Okay, mt plus c. Okay, so we're now going to choose a point on that line, and the point that we're going to use is t comma 0. This one is more easier to resolve, so go for points that usually have anything that have 0 in it than points that have numbers. If you have any points that have 0, just like we used in the first case, we used the origin, it had 0, it was easier for us to find the value of c. So if you go for this one, you will still get the correct value of c, but you're going to kind of solve much more longer. So I'll prefer we go with this one. Okay, so go with this one, and when you solve for the value of c with this particular point, you're just going to tell yourself that the value of f of t is 0 when t is t. The value of f of t is 0 when t, this t is capital letter T. Is that okay? And you now have plus c. So if you solve for the value of c, you have 0 is equal to minus 2 plus c. It implies that c is equal to 2. Therefore, the function is defined as f of t is equal to minus 2 all over tt plus c, which is 2. So to wrap up definition of f of t will be defined using the branch pattern as 2 all over tt and minus 2 all over t plus 2. So this one exists for 0 less than t over 2, and this one exists for t over 2 less than t like this. So this is the answer that you're supposed to get if you do it correctly. So try to solve more questions like this, and if you have any question, drop it on the comment section and I'll be happy to attend to you. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, share to your friends. So till next time, see you soon. Stay blessed.